Imagine a quantum AI decoding the ancient Tibetan Book of the Dead, revealing secrets that blend spirituality with science. This isn't science fiction, it's a groundbreaking reality. By analyzing the text through the lens of quantum computing, the AI uncovered hidden patterns and connections to modern physics. This fusion of technology and spirituality challenges our perceptions of consciousness and existence. Let's explore how AI's translation of this sacred text bridges the gap between ancient teachings and contemporary science. Quantum AI and spiritual revelation. In an unprecedented convergence of ancient spirituality and cutting-edge technology, a quantum artificial intelligence has reportedly translated the Tibetan Book of the Dead, unveiling interpretations that challenge our most fundamental ideas about life, death, and consciousness. This fusion of science and mysticism isn't science fiction, it marks a profound moment in human intellectual history. The ancient text, revered in Tibetan Buddhism as a guide through the stages of death and rebirth, has long defied literal translation due to its symbolic, metaphorical, and nonlinear nature. But with the advent of quantum AI, machines that don't just compute but intuit patterns on a subatomic scale, humanity may have found a new lens through which to decode spiritual truths once considered beyond language. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, also known as the Bardo Thodol, is a deeply philosophical and spiritual text designed to guide consciousness through the stages between death and rebirth. Traditionally passed down orally and later recorded in classical Tibetan, its imagery of deities, karmic visions, and light phenomena is as cryptic as it is profound. Classical translations have always struggled to balance linguistic accuracy with spiritual nuance. However, quantum AI's ability to process context, metaphor, and multilayered symbolism simultaneously may have achieved what human translators could not, a dynamic, multidimensional interpretation of this sacred manuscript. Today, we'll explore the implications of this technological feat, not merely as a linguistic breakthrough, but as a philosophical reckoning. What did the AI truly uncover? Can a machine interpret the metaphysical? And what does it mean when ancient wisdom aligns with modern theories of quantum consciousness, time relativity, and multidimensional existence? As we move through the layers of this event, we confront not only new understandings of the Tibetan text but deeper questions about reality, mortality, and the very fabric of the human soul. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, or Bardo Thodol in its original Tibetan, is one of the most enigmatic and profound spiritual texts to emerge from the Himalayan Buddhist tradition. Traditionally attributed to the great tantric master Padmambhava in the 8th century, it was rediscovered in the 14th century by the Tibetan treasure revealer, Karma Lingpa. Unlike many religious scriptures, the Bardo Thodol is not a doctrine to be worshipped but a practical manual intended to guide consciousness during the transitional phase between death and rebirth, the Bardo state. At its core, the text outlines the stages of the Bardo, a Tibetan Buddhist concept referring to the intermediate state that exists between death and the next life. According to Tibetan teachings, after physical death, consciousness does not immediately reincarnate but passes through a series of experiences which include visions of peaceful and wrathful deities, encounters with karmic projections, and ultimately, opportunities for liberation or rebirth. The Bardo Thodol provides instructions for the dying and the living to navigate these states with clarity and compassion. The language of the text is dense with symbolism, metaphor, and mysticism. Its poetic verses describe luminous deities, mandalas of light, and terrifying wrathful figures, archetypes representing facets of the mind and karmic energies. These images are not to be taken literally but as experimental guides for the inner journey of consciousness. This symbolic complexity makes the Bardo Thodol notoriously difficult to translate, especially since many of the original Tibetan terms carry layers of meaning that do not have direct equivalents in Western languages. Moreover, the Bardo Thodol reflects core Buddhist philosophical tenets such as anatta, no self, samsara, cycle of birth and death, and nirvana, liberation. The text's emphasis on the illusory nature of reality and the mind's role in shaping experience parallels contemporary ideas in consciousness studies. However, its mystical metaphors and non-linear narrative challenge traditional linear translation methods, requiring a nuanced and holistic approach to preserve its spiritual depth. Given this context, the arrival of quantum AI as a new interpretive tool holds tremendous promise. Unlike classical translation software, quantum AI can engage with the symbolic richness and nonlinearity of the Bardo Thodol on multiple levels, opening the door to insights previously inaccessible to human scholars and practitioners alike. Quantum AI explained. Quantum AI represents the frontier of artificial intelligence, merging the revolutionary principles of quantum computing with advanced machine learning algorithms. To understand why quantum AI is uniquely suited for translating a text as complex as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it's important to first grasp the basics of quantum computing and how it enhances AI capabilities. Quantum computing operates on the principles of quantum mechanics, a branch of physics describing nature at its smallest scales. Unlike classical computers that use bits, binary units representing either 0 or 1, quantum computers use quantum bits or qubits. Thanks to properties like superposition, qubits can exist in multiple states simultaneously, and entanglement allows qubits to be interconnected in ways that defy classical logic. This enables quantum computers to process vast amounts of data in parallel, uncovering complex patterns and correlations far beyond the reach of traditional systems. When quantum computing powers artificial intelligence, the result is a system capable of multidimensional problem solving and interpretation. Classical AI often relies on pattern recognition and statistical modeling in a linear or hierarchical way. Quantum AI, however, can simultaneously explore numerous potential interpretations, assess symbolic nuances, and dynamically map relationships across different layers of meaning, making it ideal for deciphering texts rich in metaphor, spirituality, and nonlinear thought. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is a prime example of a text that benefits from this advanced approach. Its symbolic imagery, layered metaphors, and philosophical depth create a complex linguistic puzzle. Conventional AI and human translators alike struggle to capture the multiple dimensions of meaning embedded in the bardo states, karmic visions, and archetypal figures described in the text. Quantum AI's ability to think in quantum states allows it to model these multi-level structures more holistically. Moreover, quantum AI can integrate knowledge from various linguistic traditions simultaneously, comparing Tibetan, Sanskrit, Chinese, and modern translations to generate an enriched understanding. It can also simulate the dynamic flow of consciousness that the Bardo Thodol describes, aligning its translations with contemporary scientific models of mind and reality. In short, quantum AI doesn't just translate words, it interprets symbolic systems, cognitive models, and metaphysical concepts embedded within ancient scriptures. This extraordinary capability positions quantum AI not only as a technological breakthrough but as a new form of translator that bridges the gap between modern science and ancient spiritual wisdom. Fast forward, the translation of the Tibetan Book of the Dead by quantum AI marks a landmark moment at the crossroads of technology, linguistics, and spirituality. Did it succeed? Translation breakthrough. This achievement goes beyond the simple conversion of words from one language to another. It represents a profound unlocking of the deep, multilayered meanings encoded within a text specifically designed to transcend ordinary human cognition. The process began by inputting a comprehensive collection of Tibetan manuscripts into the quantum AI system, alongside existing translations in English, Sanskrit, and Chinese. However, the AI did not simply analyze the text's syntax or vocabulary. Instead, it processed the entire symbolic framework of the Bardo Thodol, utilizing the unique abilities of quantum superposition and entanglement to examine multiple possible interpretations simultaneously. By comparing metaphoric and literal meanings, phonetic structures, and contextual clues in parallel, the AI navigated the text's complex narrative in a way that classical AI systems could not. Quantum AI's neural networks operated in a nonlinear fashion, reflecting the cyclical conception of time and consciousness fundamental to the text. This enabled it to model the stages of the Bardo as dynamic state changes within a vast network, much like how quantum systems evolve through probabilities rather than fixed outcomes. Among the most striking insights revealed by the AI was the recognition that the Bardo Thodol's descriptions of death and rebirth resonate deeply with the concept of quantum time superposition, where past, present, and future are intertwined rather than sequential. This suggests that the text's ancient authors had, perhaps intuitively, anticipated modern scientific understandings of time's nonlinearity. Additionally, the AI detected fractal-like patterns woven into the structure of key mantras and ritual passages, patterns that mirror those found in natural systems and contemporary theories such as string theory. These findings imply that the text encodes cosmological and metaphysical information in symbolic form, bridging spiritual practice and universal structure. Another remarkable reinterpretation involved the wrathful deities that populate the Bardo Thodol. Traditionally viewed as fearsome guardians or karmic forces, the quantum AI proposed that these figures might metaphorically represent quantum phenomena such as entanglement and interference, which influence how consciousness collapses into particular experimental states. Similarly, vivid descriptions of light tunnels experienced during death were paralleled with quantum energy state transitions, hinting that the concept of a light body in Tibetan Buddhism could correspond metaphorically to transitions within a quantum field of consciousness. This translation goes beyond literal linguistic equivalences to suggest a radical rethinking of the Bardo Thodor spiritual language. The duality of peaceful and wrathful figures can be understood as complementary quantum states, interacting, collapsing, and reshaping consciousness as it transitions between life and death. Furthermore, the AI's ability to synthesize across languages uncovered subtle semantic nuances previously lost in translation. Words describing illusion in Tibetan appeared more aligned with the behavior of quantum wave functions than with classical notions of deception, suggesting that the text's authors may have encoded an intuitive understanding of quantum reality millennia before modern physics emerged. Ultimately, this breakthrough translation highlights that the ancient Tibetan spiritual text and modern quantum theory might not merely be parallel or metaphorically related but instead represent complementary frameworks describing consciousness and existence.